Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web at smartwatchticks.com. Inside this box is something brand new. Not just the watch is new, the processor, the operating system, the memory configuration, everything about it is new, and we are going to open this. But first, I want to give a big shout out to Pablo11 from the Full Android Watch organization, for which, without his help, this watch would not be here. Android 10 would not be here on a smartwatch. I'm serious. The guy is incredible. He's over at discourse.fullandroidwatch.org. It's called the Full Android Watches support website, and he and his team provide technical help and support for these watches. And literally, he is the guy behind putting things together to get Google to work properly in Android 10 on a smartwatch platform. So a big shout out to Pablo11, and I highly encourage you to go over and check out the conversations that are happening here. And if you're motivated to, I'd really recommend a donation, $5, something like that. He's unpaid in doing all this, and he struggles to keep this site going, and your contributions help. And I'm serious, without him, this watch would not be here. So what is it? Let's look at it, then I'll tell you all about it. Are you ready? You might want to step back. It's kind of big. Here we go. First of all, I got a piece of paper in here, just because I want to mess with you. No. Come on, focus. Come back here. I'm going to show that to you in a second, but here is the watch. This thing is phenomenagonous. It's phenomenagonal. It's phenomenal. It's really humongous. That's the watch module itself. Yeah, I'm not joking. Look at the back of this thing. Carbon fiber. There's our charging ports. There's our sealed cover over the diodes. And it looks like what could be electrodes for ECG, but I don't know if it really is. Here it is. Here it is, folks. That fancy flipping camera you've heard about. Yeah, it's one camera. When it's this way, you can shoot things forward that way, and when you flip it up, you get a selfie camera. Isn't that amazing? That's just my reflection. Let's take the little cover off. Ugh. Okay, let's not. There we go. There we go. It's got a little protective cover, and then it reveals this amazing screen. Now, before I show you any more, I want to tell you how you guys can get it, because it's in a very special release right now. This is a world premiere coming from Banggood, and they are introducing it at $179.99 for only 50 pieces. That's probably gone by now. $199, then it's going to climb up to about $250. But I do have this link for you in the show notes. Use that link, please. They're giving away, well, not giving away, but they're selling for $100, $99.95. 2 of them every day until this promotion stops. So this is a special link that's specifically for their world release. Now, the normal link to this watch, which you'll be able to get to later, is this one. And I'll have that in there as well, because when the other one goes away, it probably won't work. And it's basically a $200 watch at this point with a 13-megapixel rotating camera. It's a 2.1 inch 480 by 480 IPS screen with 4 gigabytes of memory and of RAM and 64 gigabytes of memory. It's using an octa-core processor, and of course supports 4G LTE, 1600 milliamp battery, GPS with ByteDAO, all the other things you need for location services, and Android 10. And the title pretty much tells you all the specs you really want to know. We'll look at more of them after I show you more about the watch. Oh, and the piece of paper, it's from Kospet. This is an internal document, but I just wanted to share it with you because a lot of you guys, these guys don't care about our comments. Well, they do. Look at this. It's, first of all, letting me know that we are looking at a prototype here that they've sent out, and the firmware needs to be upgraded, which is really important. We're going to talk about that for all watches, especially the Android 10 watches now. and how you do that by getting into settings and wireless update and so forth. And they're asking if you have any suggestions or comments. They'll welcome that information, and please feel free to put whatever you'd like in the comments down here, because I know these guys are going to be monitoring this channel and others to see what you guys have to say about their products. So back to the watch. We've got a couple of buttons here. This is where the SIM card goes, and notice it's like on a phone. You have a little hole that you can press to pull the tray out, put the SIM in, push it back in, and that's been pretty close to waterproof on watches or phones for a long time, so they're using the same style here. On this side, you got the little microphone port. On the very, very bottom, okay, this is the top with the camera. On the very, very bottom, you've got the speaker port. Yeah, and good news, you can cover it with your finger if it's too loud, and if you can get your finger in there, if you got the straps on, you can pretty much silence it. So it does come out of that one port, and you do have some manual control in throttling it down if you need to. You can see the back is held on with these unique kind of screws. You're not going to need to get in here. The only thing you need to do is access the SIM, and that's done on the side. So as far as sweat resistant, it's going to be pretty good. You got the speaker and the charging ports, and then a covered back with the diodes and whatnot. It's using 26 millimeter, I believe, straps that will attach here and right underneath the camera when you, I don't know if I should show you, when you put it on your arm. No, it's a man's arm. I am not a 5-year-old. I don't know why we're having trouble with the focus, but there you go. It definitely, well, you'll see it when I actually put the straps on it, but it is a Fred Flintstone watch. It really is. It's on the larger size. When we pull up accessories, here's where we get to the straps, which, can you believe, are removable. We've had problems with a lot of these other ones in non-removable straps. And, yeah, that's caused some issues when they wear out and break, and you can't, basically you got to duct tape them together. But here we go. We've got good large bands. We'll be putting those on. You've got the charging wire, which is your standard 4-pin magnetically coupled. There we go. Oh boy, is it? No, the watch is going to be pretty heavy. I can't hold it with just the wire itself. But that's how you charge it. There's the little tool for popping open the SIM container. There's the little plastic sleeve that you hold over the charger, which I took off because I've already charged it up, gang, and basically checked it out a little bit for you, which we will do right now when I put the bands on. Wait a minute, we might have a secret compartment here. What's under here? Aha! Don't forget to look here when you get yours, because you will be treated to a screen protector. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has one already, but this is a backup. This was, of course, just plastic cover. And you have a Kospet warranty card and an actual Prime 2 manual. The warranty card gives you their basic address, for official tech support address, and inside for Amazon sales support. Wow, okay, fancy. Here we go, warranty description. You got a year warranty on this one, and things that don't cover under warranty, and product info. Notice it's talking about water, and this is not a waterproof watch. Unfortunately, we're still looking at splash resistance at best. So the manual will give you a peek at that. This is going to give you all the specs and stuff. You've got a description of all of the different buttons and controls, where the SIM card inserts on the side, where the speaker and microphone are located, how to access the SIM slot, and how to put the SIM in, about charging, about protection. There's our overall QR code to scan to download the Y-Watch 2 app, or you can check the show notes, of course, and download it from there. Information about how to get it all set up properly. and then how you connect it through the app, and so forth. Of course, we're covering that at the end of the video today. And user's manual continued. Some more stuff about the app. And there's another way to get to watch faces, folks, is within the app itself. You're going to see some other ways of getting to them as well here shortly. There's the keyboard data entry that you can do from the phone onto the watch without having to use the tiny little keyboard on the watch. Of course, on this watch, it's not tiny. Here's the layout information for the different controls you have. We'll be looking at those directly. A few more screens about watch faces that come with it. Wow, they're really sophisticated. They're even showing you the actual watch faces that they're putting on the watch itself. Nice. More information. There's a game you can download, it looks like. There we go, all on the screen. And a final page too. And it's all in English. This is the English manual version. Okay, now let's look at it. There it is. Wow. Wow, that is a big watch. 2.1 inches. Yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at. 2 buttons. We press and hold the top button, give it a moment, or 2, or 3, and we come up with the Kospet logo as it's booting up. Notice the nice appearance of it with just a little bump here when the camera's pointed outward, and just flip it and it'll pop up at you and point forward for when you're doing a selfie, video chat, video logging, whatever you want to do. There's the boot up sound, and so far everything sounds and looks familiar. It says watches starting, and we're going to land in the home page. Yep, the first watch face, which of course is your home page, which looks like this, and it's got this interesting donut in the middle. Let's jump right into it, shall we? I touch that, and boom, I'm into the camera. Now notice there's the floor upside down. Oh my gosh, everything is backwards. No problem. Touch that button and it flips around. You see the circle coming in here giving me all kinds of information. And there's a lot we can do with the camera. We'll talk all about that later, but I just want to show you that. If I flip it this way, there I am, and I'm upside down, but I can tap that, and now I'm right side up. But you notice I'm flipped around too. I'm inverted. So hopefully, let me get a piece of paper here. Didn't practice this ahead of time. Can I show you something without it getting in the way? There, you see the words? Okay, it takes a front-facing picture correctly. Is what I'm getting at. So when you shoot pictures or where am I? When you shoot anything from the front-facing camera, it's flipped the image so you'll be able to read anything in the background or foreground or whatever, which I think is pretty cool personally. I can flip it upside down, I can move it back down that way, and now I'm shooting straight out. We'll get back to the camera later in this video. Back here to the home page now. I wanted to mention that when we booted it up, it just landed here. That's not what happens the first time you turn the watch on. You go through a whole process, and I've skipped that process so we could get to it. But at the very end of this video, I'll take you back to a fresh, unopened, brand new watch and what you see and what you do when you first turn it on, okay? But let's keep moving. Here is our opening watch face. What does it look like? I haven't done anything to it other than it's on Wi-Fi right now. I set that up. I slide down, and this first opening screen shows me my airplane mode, SIM card status, and tethering status, along with time and date and percentage of battery and a circle that represents that. Slide over once, you get to this screen that shows Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection, GPS turned on. This is your overall brightness. There's your do not disturb when you want it quiet mode. This is your twist your wrist to see the time, and that one will activate if you have a SIM card in to turn on or off cellular data. Really important if you're on a limited plan. Brightness, let's talk about it. Here is the brightest bright, and it's really bright. Let's come back to the home screen. Really nice and bright, easy to see, should be pretty easy to see outside. You're constantly going to be getting these pushes from Google for setting up the Assistant, setting up Chromecast, all kinds of things. I'm just basically swiping out of those. I want to get down to brightness and show you the lowest level. There it is. And for indoors, that's really nice, kind of dim. Now, of course, we can always install other sliders like the display brightness you see on many of these. But if you want to use it, you've got several levels now. You used to only have like 2, 3 levels. Now you got like 5 or 6. So I'm going to work in this level unless it's too washed out on the watch, and then we'll lower it a little bit. We got to that by swiping down. There's one panel, this panel, and there's one more when we slide over. That's your clean up the watch. Never really know what that does, but it doesn't do a whole lot. It doesn't like disable all the running apps in the background and such. No more when you go this way, only the 3, because they moved some of them that were over here down below, as you'll see here in a second. Okay, that dropped me back down to this level. So I've got these 3 here. Come over here and I got notifications if there are some waiting, and you saw some. Swipe up now and I've got step count, calories burned, distance traveled, all on one screen. Awesome. Here is my daily count. Here is my total, all in one linear thing in one screen that swipes. You see the little thing going there. Go over to the right. I've got the music player for playing music from your phone when you're Bluetooth connected to it, and you, when it's playing, should have a speaker. There you go, speaker volume control, which is very nice. And come over here, and when you're all set up on the internet and with cellular, you'll be able to get location data, which will let you get the weather. You do not need to be tethered to your phone to pull in the weather information, but you do need to be on the internet with location services on so that you can get that. So you've got 3 things here as well. 3 things here as well. Okay? Are you getting with me where we are? Not too much different than Android 7.1. Swipe this way. We've got the app drawer. Swipe once more, and you've got the familiar scene of all the different activities with pictures subdued in the background. I'll pay attention to that because the actual app is different. It's been updated. Okay, we're going back to the app drawer to show you. Phone contacts and SMS are all related to SIM card, which I don't have in. This is the first look, and that's all. We'll just talk about them at this point. Overall settings has really changed. We're going to take a quick look in here. Network and internet. We see Wi-Fi here. You tap on it. You can change your Wi-Fi settings. Mobile network. You've got data usage here. You've got hotspot capability, and airplane mode can be activated directly from here. So that looks pretty similar. Connected devices shows your Bluetooth. Connected preferences, it'll be visible as Prime 2 if you're going to connect to earbuds, things like that. And you can pair new device much like you do in your phone and much like System 7.1 on these watches. Apps and notifications shows you your recently opened ones and a list of default apps, permission manager, and special app access, and which ones are connected there. As you know, the higher you go in the Android operating system, the more controls you have over all of your different apps and stuff. So you've got several system ones in here, and then you've got these other stock ones. Now, one thing I do in Gmail is I turn off all of my notifications. Otherwise, it's going crazy on you every time you get an email in. It's giving you that. And Gmail is stock in here. So if you log into your Google account, like to get into the Play Store, you're automatically logged into your Gmail account, and it's automatically set to push notifications to your watch. So you can take care of that right here. And other things, you've got permissions, storage. If you want to clear everything out, you can clear your cache there, just like you do on a regular phone. Okay, mobile data, battery, default opening, whether it can install apps on your behalf if you download them, through email or whatever. So you've all got that stuff. One of the important things you're going to want to do after you're on the internet and you're all set up and you've gone into the Play Store and you're on that and you're all set up and you've updated the apps, which will update Google, is make sure you check Google Play services. And if it says there's an update in here, update, because Play Services is really critical for everything working right. So far, what I've noticed is it has been updated, but over time, it might fall out of favor and need to be updated. So when you go in here, make sure it's updated. Same thing with Google. See, it can't tell right now that it needs to be updated because I'm not connected into the Play Store yet. But when it is, it would let me know if I need to update it, or you just go into the Play Store and you can update it there. So all of the stuff about apps, your default apps for all apps are talked about here, and you can see individual apps, including the ones you install yourself from the Play Store or from side loading, transferred from your computer over with the wire. They'll all appear there. Overall battery information, I'm at 78% at this point. Apps are running normally. Battery information. Just show you quickly what these all look like. Here's a simple slider for your brightness. Looks at like that level 2 that I'm on is a 50%. This is new. This is new. This is the night light. And you turn this thing on and it's going to turn your whole screen amber. So that at night, or even in the day, if you like it this way, you can soften your eyes. You can turn it, and I do, all the way down. That's plenty enough amber for me compared with the blue-white, which is this color right here. But you can make it as heavy-duty as you want to simply by sliding it. It is going to taint your colors for your pictures, your camera, your icons, all of that stuff. Everything changes to this color, but it is available there. I do not see, oh yes I do, there it is, schedule. You can set it to turn on at custom times, or when you have your date and time set, it'll automatically go on and off sunrise to sunset. That's new with System 7. System 10 now over 7.1. You also have dark themes, so your apps and things can appear dark and not be, really bright. And of course, your system timeout we talk about here, setting this at something reasonable after you first turn your watch on. It's set for 15 seconds. You can go up to 30 minutes. They still don't have it set to be infinite. But as you know, if you've watched the channel, we have a workaround for that if you want to actually have it never time out. Of course, it'll eat up the battery faster, but it is possible. Then you have these things. You have lift to wake, which is to twist your wrist, which we did with the icon, and you have notification bright screen. So if a notification comes in, instead of it just being there, it will actually light up the screen in the middle of everything, and you'll get that information. And that is all in the display. Sounds now are handled as typical. There's your volume levels. You can vibrate or not. You can use a power button to end a call, which has nothing to do with sound. Don't know why it's there, but there it is. You do not disturb times. You can set your sounds. And then this is new. Dial pad tones for when you're making calls. You'll hear the tones. Not a good idea to have that on. I hope it's implemented that it's all one tone. But if it's actually the touch tone sounds, somebody could simply record that, put it up to a phone, and play it back and dial the number that you called. Power on sounds. I typically turn that off. I don't like it making sound when I boot up and shut down. You need to turn that on and off here, as opposed to back here, the toggle for quiet mode. See? So the implementation is a little screwy. This may or may not work, depending on the version of the firmware, for actually silencing the turn on and turn off sounds. So your best bet is to handle that in the sound settings at the very bottom to make sure that's turned off if you don't want to hear it. I'll leave it on for you in case we turn the watch off later. You'll be able to hear what it sounds like. But it sounds exactly like System 7. Here's our overall storage. Are you ready for this? 64 gigabytes of storage. Look, and I'm only using up 8. I got plenty. I'm only using 14%. There's a storage manager. You can free up space by deleting stuff you don't need. It shows you how much of your photos, videos, audio files, and all that are being used, games, movies, system, all of that. So lots of information about storage. 64 gigabytes, gang. When I got my first and last Apple iPhone, the original, 64 gigabytes, same memory as in this watch for $600. Man, now a watch has 64 gigabytes. Incredible over time. Location services. This is where you can use location and you can specify which apps have access and permission, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth scanning, advanced information on how it can get your location. All of that's there. This is your Google services. When you get in here, the first thing, of course, it's going to want you to do is sign in. And when you do, then it's going to be just like if you're on your computer or your phone, you go into administration of all of your Google account stuff. So be very careful. Are you listening to me? Pay attention for a second. If you mess around with settings in here, think you're changing it all for your watch, you're changing it for your entire Google enterprise. Yes. If you're turning off the recognition of the Google activation sound anywhere, you're turning it off everywhere. That's my understanding. That's what I've been seeing. So be careful in what you turn on and off, like the COVID-19 exposure notifications. That's something new in here, but that's new to overall Google settings. And that's what you're looking at. By the way, when you see things off of the watch and you want to bring them back, you remember that little circle square we used to have? It's much more logical. Press and hold the button, and now it'll say circular screen or square screen. Now we're back in the square screen. So if I wanted to come back, I have access to that button there, which I couldn't see otherwise. Press and hold. I can change it again. Well, while we're here, let's look at some of the other stuff. Remember, we're in settings and we're looking at Google, so we're going to go back there in a second. But when you press and hold, you have your power off and your reboot like before, your recent task stuff, which when you open it up here, you need to slide to the side this way to get rid of them, and power save. Check this out, gang. Power save, boom, I'm there. Power, date, time, and a little thing that says you can turn on or off flight mode. So if you want your battery, your radios and stuff to still work in the background, you can uncheck that and set it up so that when you're in your power save mode, it'll still let you have an incoming call, that kind of thing. Or you can turn it off completely. You're locked. You can't do anything here. It will time out, I believe, in the timeout that you've set for the overall watch, and it'll go completely off. It won't be a night light all night long unless you had it set for, continuous. To get out of it, press and hold. If you hit X, it goes right back to it. Press and hold, power save, and you're right back where you were. And where were we? We were at Google, all right? Okay, we got a couple more things. Let's look at About. About is where we check for wireless updates. You'll see all this at the very end of the video, and we got a whole process for you for setting up a smartwatch and other videos on that for any Android watch. Shows you the steps to go through and why this page is so important. We are currently running build number 1.4 on Halloween, was just recently released. 1.4 already for this watch. There are going to be a lot of updates. It's Android 10. It's a new processor, and it's a new watch. So constantly check to see if there's a new update by making sure you're on Wi-Fi and then going into wireless update. Give it a moment. If it doesn't do it right away, say check for updates. Either way, it'll eventually come into this, tell you you're running the latest version, and then you're fine. If you says it has an update waiting for you, please watch the end of this video or go back and watch the video on setting up a watch on how to properly do firmware updates to optimize your watch, okay? And that leaves us with system. Language and input. Here are the different languages. At the end of the video, you'll see them anyway, so I'll skip that. You can set up a different keyboard, and you will be prompted as you go through this by Google to install the Gboard keyboard. And that's a good keyboard, and it has the microphone capability. The virtual keyboard does not. So you might think about installing the Gboard, and it's through here that you could activate or deactivate that. You got your overall date and time. It's set for China here right now. You can automatic change the time zone and select where you are. Now, this is totally different. You have to first select your region from all the different countries in the world, Christmas Island, and then you can use, if that's only one time zone, that's what it's going to be. But if it's a different region that has multiple time zones, heck, I don't know who has multiple time zones. Australia, here you go. You got these different zones, different cities, major cities, and you pick which one it is, and now you're automatically set to the proper GMT advance or detriment from 0, and the location information is right there. We'll run off of Australia right now. By the way, Pablo 11, the guy I'm shouting out to as being instrumental in this actually being here, he's from down in Australia. Amazing. Yep. You can use locale information and set up 24-hour or 12-hour mode. All those things are, of course, in date and time. It's basically the setup of your location that's been shifted somewhat in Android 10. And your reset options, where you can reset a few things, including factory reset. And you hear me harp on this, that this is really good to do at the beginning of setting up your watch before you start loading it up with stuff. Separate apps that you download and music and whatever. Make sure you've done the optimization of your watch with a couple of the factory updates or factory resets as appropriate. And that, folks, is everything that you find in settings. Now, here's an interesting setting that's part of settings but not in settings. When you're in the app drawer, we call it, you see everything is kind of curved. If I press and hold, there it is again, curved, but now I got dots, which means I'm changing view format. If I go up one, come back here, settings, press and hold, slide up. Now they're linear. You see that? Do it again, and now they're laid out like this. Do it again, and now they're circular. So if I tap it, I'm getting pages, there we go, of apps with the clock in the middle, right? Press and hold, come back here. Now I'm getting my apps laid out this way. It is really sensitive and fussy. It's kind of frustrating. When you get a lot of apps in here, you need to know what they are by icon, right? Otherwise, it's going to be kind of crazy. What is an @ sign or that? No words next to it. But maybe once you learn them all, you can go with that. And here they are, all straight up and down without it being curved. So basically, your choice of what you would like to see by simply pressing and holding while you're in the app drawer. Something new. Okay, let's move on. We've got a watch face store. Now, you need to be on the internet for that. And in order to do that, you got to get into your configuration in settings, into network and internet, into Wi-Fi. Make sure you're connected to the service, which I am here, and I'm good to go because I actually have to access the server for the watch faces. Now, those of you who've been here with me before know that from the home screen, you can press and hold on the watch face, slide all the way over, and you get a little plus sign at the end. We'll show you that later. Well, now there's an app for that. Touch it, and you immediately go into the server, which shows you all the different watch faces that you could download. And yes, they've been resorted, and there's a few different ones in here as well. And the sad thing is they all are still linear. And you touch it now, and it immediately downloads the face to your watch and gives you a little check mark here. It doesn't disappear anymore. And you can delete it from the other side, or no, you can't delete it from here, but you have to delete it from within the apps. But you can pick out some that you would like to see. None of them are animated, even though it looks like they should be, but I'll take that one and show you later. But it just goes on and on and on, and you have to wait, for them to download. And if you like one of them that's at the very end, well, good time for a toilet break. Yep. Anyway, that is your watch face store. Your overall desktop settings now are your dial selection, which is the same as pressing and holding, and now we can switch to that dial and show you that the animated fire is not moving, it's just a static screen. And you can go menu style, which is what we already did, right? Yeah, we're learning the shortcuts. Or, desktop settings, you have switch styles. Okay, haven't been here yet. Default, pushing, background, inner square box, foreign box. Wow. Wow. Okay, I think this is what it looks like when you change to different pages. But we're going to leave that as a mystery for right now. Here's the Google Play Store. You get in here, you go through, you set up your account, you sign in, and I want to advise you the first thing you might want to do is go in there and check for updates and update whatever's possible. Now, they may not show up right away because it's going to take some time to connect with you. It might take even a few hours. But get updated, all the things on the watch that need to be updated, and check the Google Play services in the app section that we talked about in settings after you've let it do its whole thing, and update it if it's waiting for that. I know, there's a lot you need to know about these Android watches to get them working. But then you had to fuss with that with your phone too, didn't you? This is the Google account setting. You have to be in Google, either sign in through Play Store or sign in through Google to take advantage of all of the settings, and that is where you have to be careful because it could change your overall Google settings for all of your devices. This is your maps, your basic Google map thing, and you can sign into Google, of course, to get going on that. And there it is, showing you your maps. You can hit your location. If GPS has identified where you are, it'll take you there. You got Play Movies and TV, which is Google Play. So these are all Google assets. It's wanting to log us in again. There's Gmail and Chrome, the browser. All that's Google. So log into one Google account, you'll be into all of those things. Heart rate monitoring, we haven't gotten to. That's the typical sensor on the back. There's nothing really new about this. It's going to be quiet for a while it's accumulating data, just showing you a pulsing heart. When it gets its first reading, it logs that one as the daily reading or the momentary reading, but it'll continue going for a while to give you a change in the reading if there is any. Now, it's taking exceptionally long and completely bailed out when I touch the edges. That's weird. Okay. Well, I'm showing you what's happening. Not sure why. Let's go back over to heart rate because we really want to give that a chance. I'm going to move it, make sure it's nice on my wrist. It is, honestly, a really big, thick watch, and it's flashing diodes there. It's not really lit up brightly. It's just an occasional flash, so it may not be making proper skin contact. First time I'm really testing it live with you as we've unboxed it. Bear with me. Going to give it a few more seconds to see what happens. Basically says measuring. Okay, there we go. We've got the first reading, and it has a recheck sign, but it's still pulsing, but it doesn't seem to be changing. It's slightly different layout, right? Yeah. It's still really tiny white digits compared to the big size of the screen. It would be awfully nice if it was a really big, easy to read across the room kind of thing. But it's not. We do have face unlock on this one. And we've done another whole video on what you got to go through to do this. In order to do face unlock, you first have to put in a pin, not a pin, but a movement thing. What do you call that? A pattern code, to be able to unlock it in case it doesn't unlock the face properly. So you do that, and then you set up the face recognition thing, and if everything's set up and working, you simply move your watch in front of your face, and it will unlock it. But look, on this one, you don't have two cameras, one on the side and one facing forward. You only have one. So obviously, you're going to have to do this just to gain access to your watch. And if you do this and this a lot, I would be worried about breaking the contacts in there. So I'm not a big fan of face unlock on watches in the first place, and especially I'm not a fan on this one because just to get in, you press your button and it's going to come up with either you have to put in your pattern or you got to flip the camera and look at it, and it only gives you a couple of seconds. Sorry, personal opinion. Fitness is the same as we get to if we slide over here, with some differences. This doesn't give you much capabilities to set anything or to see your results, but this one does. When you go in here now, notice we've got color icons. Stop it. Color icons here for all of your different, your different activities. And they're the same activities you saw on the side. Personally, I like this a lot better than those people pictures on there. A little easier to see in bright light where you're at. I can get into this one, and if there's any records that I've got for that particular activity, they'll be here. And most importantly, I can come over here and I can turn on to use the GPS positioning tied in with my walk or my run or my biking, and that's great. Okay, so the fitness app is yet another update on top of the ones we've seen on Android 7, but it's basically the same thing. Weather is weather, and it'll do its update for you and give you your information in your area and blah, blah, blah. You do have Fahrenheit and centigrade and all that stuff. And then we're to camera, coming back to that. Gallery where you see your pictures. The music player, which we already saw when we swiped, and a voice recorder. Now, we haven't heard this thing in action yet, so let's give it a try. This is Mr. Tix testing the voice recorder of the brand new Kospet Prime 2 Android 10 480 by 480 IPS screen, 4GB, 64GB octa-core processor. Yes, I'm reading all that off a piece of paper. You think I could remember all that? I don't think so. I'm going to check mark it. It's logged in there. I'm going to play it back. Whoa, where is it? Hello? Okay, I'm going to play it back.
This is Mr. Tix testing the voice recorder of the brand new Kospet Prime 2 Android 10 480 by 480 IPS screen, 4GB, 64GB octa-core processor. Yes, I'm reading all that off a piece of paper.
I'm pretty sure you could hear that, right? Now, there's the speaker, and without the bands on, I was able to cover that last night, so Mrs. Tix didn't get annoyed with me booting it up and down all the time. With the band on it, I cannot get my finger to cover the spot with it off, and goodness knows I'm not going to be able to cover it with it on. So sadly, you don't have instant access to the speaker. I would have so loved it if they put the speaker right there opposite the SIM card slot and put the microphone down there. That would make so much sense. Then I could just grab it, squeeze it, and mute it. Literally manually mute it. Man, this is sad. But nonetheless, it's loud and it works. There's no volume control on this screen like there is on the music player, another addition I'd like to see on here, but it is showing you a progress chart, which is kind of nice. No back and no forward incrementally, no way of playing it at double speed. It's pretty lame. It's just a basic sound recorder. You can do better. Easy Voice Recorder is one that I recommend as an app that you download. That one works great, and you have gain control on it too, so you can record whispers from across the room. Ooh, awesome. File Manager, here you go, gang. 64 gig total. What you've used, what you got available. It shows you a percentage, and here you go. We're into all of our folders. This is the stuff you've got there. Voice recording is actually in a folder. I touch it, and it launches a player. Oh, nice. And now I have volume control. Okay. That's the way you can play back your sound recordings and be able to change the volume on the fly. Awesome. Probably same thing with other things. Oops, I went into someplace else. You also have your clock skin folder, which is where you will have your watch faces. When you install watch faces on the Android watch, you install them into that folder, and it's available right here on the File Manager. You've got yourself a basic calculator. This is not often seen on these Android watches, but it's nice that it's here, and it gives you pretty decent display overall. You've got a basic stopwatch, which is like this, and this is fun. It's got the layout of an actual stopwatch. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I can take a lap time right there, and look at that. You got the lap time preceding that time. I can take another lap time, and it moves now the one ticker to the second lap time. You can pause it, you can reset it, you can play it, continue going, or you can reset the whole thing. That's a fun little stopwatch. Your calendar is basic. It's nothing to write home about. It's not the Google Calendar, mind you, in this one. And, of course, we're looking at it out of the box, so I can't tell you if I were to install the Google Calendar, would it replace this one, supplement this one? How would that work? Can you use the Google Calendar? I think both of them will be available. They'll both be labeled calendar, and you'll have to recognize the icon difference between them. But you can't go in, you can't set up appointments. You can't really do anything with it. It's bare bones. Alarm clock, pretty much the same thing. You can add an alarm to your watch if you want to. And then we get into optimization. Here is pretty much what we've already seen. The clean task is that thing. Oh, here you go, a battery saver. You tap here and you can select the different apps, I guess, that you want to leave running in the background. Sometimes we have trouble when they're closed, when the screen goes off, and I guess that helps with that. Here's your overall screen lock again, where you set up a pin or pattern lock that you can get ready for doing face unlock. Third-party adapter. This will make things look better on third-party apps, usually on browsers. Your system work mode, you do have the ability to go into performance. The watch may get a little hotter, the battery may last a little less, but you can do high-speed things with this. And of course, you've got an octa-core processor on here. And app freeze, I've never fully understand, but it freezes apps rather than disables them. That blah, blah, blah. Anyway, if it's something you think you need, you can specify which ones to freeze. Map might be a good one to freeze, so it's not constantly using your cellular data to update the map. I don't know. Browser's a stock browser they put in. Their app store is different than the Google Play Store, and they only have this one thing, and that looks like a game. I don't know much about it. Have you ever played it, gang? Install. See, we downloaded it. Now we're going to install it. For your security, it hasn't been set up to approve this as a source for installing, so I'm going to allow it from that source and read all that stuff and then install. So this is coming from a server in China. It's the standard app in Android 10 nowadays. And it was built for an older version of Android. That's great. I love it. The trailblazing app is not going to work necessarily. Start the game. Okay, there it is. And I don't know how to play it. Sorry, guys, I'm not a gamer. But those of you that are should be going, ooh, ah, awesome. Okay. Used to be the App Store had Facebook and WhatsApp and a bunch of other things in there. Doesn't anymore. Just has that one game. Here's the overall assistant. This means not the Google Assistant, but the assistant to assist you with connecting to your phone. So when you're tethered to your phone, you use this QR code to make it happen. We saw it at the very beginning. Well, you will, at the end of this video, see at the very beginning what it would have looked like when you turned your watch on, but you didn't see it because I skipped ahead. But if you did, go to the end, you'll see that QR code there. You got remote capture, music control, and find your device. All these rely on you being tethered to the phone to begin with, and they show up in Assistant. And there's the brand new first app that we've added, downloaded from the App Store. And folks, that is the complete collection of all of the apps inside the awesome, amazing Kospet Prime 2. This is some of the downloaded faces that I just pulled off of the server. And now, are you ready? Are you ready for the grand unveiling of all of the stock apps that come in this thing? There's the one we saw at the beginning, hello, that gave us a button that we could push, so we know it'll support touch spots. Will it also do this? No. No, none of those are hot, but the center one is. So if you're going to be doing photography and you want a quick access, that's the watch face to put on here. But we have a couple of others. We got this one here. Yeah, I know. I normally don't run through every single watch face, but this is the first time we are looking at this Android 10 and the Kospet Prime 2 in this size 2.2-inch watch. Yeah, you got stuff here. Oh, what happened? Oh, it slid down. None of this stuff is clickable, but it's a nice watch face. Here's something you got time right down to the second. Look at that. Interesting. Okay, date. And you got percentage of battery on that particular face. Here's another one where you've got the time down. And again, we're on a 400 by 400 resolution screen, and it's pretty darn sharp. Are you seeing all those marks around the edges and stuff, and you can read the information clearly? So even though it's a mega huge screen, it's still legible, being only 480 by 480. There we go. They got animation, but it loops. Look at that. It's not smooth. It's not a dynamic thing. We've seen some Lympho watches that you could touch and make smoke go all kinds of different places. Remember those? This one is a wallpaper that's doing a certain number of frames and then resetting itself. Kind of a disappointment, honestly. But the good news is, there you go, you got a shark kind of doing its biting thing, but again, you can see it jump as it loops. The exciting thing is, even though those animations are kind of lame, this one's a simple one with stars coming at you, when you install a custom watch face, and we will do that later, like Alrod makes, that have true animation in them, they play beautifully on this watch. So it supports animation, it supports the hot touch buttons with some modifications. Some of the functions aren't working quite the same yet, so the faces have to be modified, but heart rate will work, and fitness will work, and weather will work, but phone calling and some of the others need some adjustment. This one, of course, is the one we downloaded, just the static picture in the back, and again, we're back to this other one that I just downloaded from the server. So we got it covered. What we're going to do next is show you what the watch looks like when you first turn it on, and how to do the updates to the firmware when you get them, which I got one while we were reviewing this. So here we are downloading the most recent firmware update that was pushed to the watch, and as soon as it's done, we're going to go through the procedure that all of us should follow. Make sure you got a good charge on the watch to begin with. 100%'s best, at least 50%. Better if you can have it higher. You can install now or later. We're going to go ahead and install now. It's talking about a warning, and you don't want to interrupt it while it's doing it. It's going to go through and reboot. There, it's turning itself off. Then it's going to turn itself back on again, and it's going to go ahead and do the installation. Now, one thing that's important, after it does the full install, the best thing you can do if you haven't loaded it up with a lot of stuff is to go and immediately do a factory data restore. You see, the old firmware may have left some residual stuff in the memory that's not cleaned up by the new firmware when it's installed, and so it could slow the watch down, or you might see an error once in a while. So the best practice, and we talk about that in another setup video on Android watches, the best practice after you install the new firmware is to immediately go do the factory data restore. That brings it back as a brand new watch with the brand new firmware, and you start all over from the beginning. And we're going to do that right now. So it fully installed the firmware. Next step, of course, is it reboots the watch with the brand new firmware, and that can take a while. It's going through the boot up process. There's the startup sound, the logo, and now watch is starting, and it should take us into the first watch face. Great. Now, we're going to come over here. Before we do anything, we're going to go down to Settings. We're going to scroll all the way down here to System, Reset Options, Erase All Data, Factory Restore, basically. Are you ready? It's going to wipe out everything on your phone, your modem, router, login, your Google account information, everything. we basically say erase everything, and it reboots itself. Now, it's going to come up like a fresh, brand new, out-of-the-box watch, and I want to show you this stuff here at the end instead of like we did at the beginning with it already set up. The first screen you get when it boots up straight out of the box and after you do a restore is the language section. So, in order for you to see what the supported languages are, oops, I clicked that one. It's very sensitive in the center. We're going to scroll through them, let you see which languages are installed so you'll know whether or not you can work with it in your country. All right, and there's quite a few. Definitely have to go back and reselect English because it's jumping around all over the place. That's one thing I've noticed, that the watch is very, very sensitive. Okay, we've got a bunch of different languages. I can't even begin to tell you what they are. These look like Chinese. Okay, so there you go. We're going to scroll back up and pick English, United States, and go forward. Now at this point, hello? Okay, got it. We are in preparation for connecting to the YWatch 2 app, and this is the QR code that you'd use to download it. Now we're going to skip the whole tethering process because I got an entire video for you on that. When you swipe away the download QR code for the app, you get the actual tethering QR code for the app. When you run the app, it's going to give you a circle with your camera to point here, and it will connect the two together. And then, once you're connected, you'll come up to your home watch face. Oh, okay. We got some push notifications coming in already. When you get this, and this is kind of new, it's a good idea to just open that up and let it do its thing. Otherwise, it's going to keep hounding you as you try to set everything up on your watch. It's a play protect thing. You aren't even on the Wi-Fi yet, so it's doing it all locally. I don't know what it's all about, but just recommendation is do that in the notifications. First thing you're probably going to want to do is come over here and get into settings and go into your display and change it for longer than 15 seconds, okay? I usually make mine like 5 minutes or so. That way, it's not going to time out on you when you're trying to do anything. The next thing you're going to want to do in your settings is go into your network, turn Wi-Fi on, touch it, and it's going to look for all the different connectivities and pick whichever network login you're going to do and log yourself into Wi-Fi. And I'll do that off camera. Oh, I get some comments that I never show the keyboard, so I'm going to show it to you now. I'm in the Wi-Fi setup. I'm putting in my password, and you see it looks like this. I can get caps. Your period is right down here. Your space bar is there. That's your switch to the numbers. There's no microphone support. You have some of the symbols supported here, and if you touch that button, you get more of the symbols supported. Touch that, you're back to that one. So it toggles between two different symbol pages, and hitting the ABC gets you back over to here. That's your backspace key. Pressing and holding it deletes everything. Now I'll put my real password in. Okay, I'm connected. And now, this is something new. Notice the data usage on Wi-Fi is showing up right here. And it's giving me my, it's increasing as the phone is interrogating the network, and all kinds of things are talking to it to register it and whatnot. But that's new, the new data usage that we've got. You have the hotspot capability here as well if you want to use the watch as a Wi-Fi hotspot. But I digress. This is the basic setup stuff. We've got you on the network. Okay, watch, I see. I don't want to do that right now. We want to check one more time for firmware updates. You got to do this over and over again. I'm going to go into System. I'm going to go, I'm going to go to About the Watch. Yep. What am I on right now? This is the latest build number, 2020, October 31st is the latest update, version 1.4 that we're running. And I just go into wireless update, give it a moment. It should check it for you, and tell you that you're up to date or tell you that you have a new one to download. If you have a new one, you go through this whole process again, okay? We've got that all covered in a video on how to properly set up an Android watch. And I got another one that's set up for showing you how to tether to the YWatch 2 app. And that's basically what you do to get going to your opening page. I want to finish today with the specs. Yeah, I didn't even show you the specs. You can tell that I'm not really a spec guy. I'm more of a hands-on guy. But for those of you who really want to know and haven't been able to find this on any other source, here you go. An Android 10 watch, the Prime 2 from Kospet. You've got this kind of hardware. It's the Halo P2 octa-core processor. There's the memory, the information for your networking, the display, 2.1 inch. Here you go, the battery information. It's a 1600 milliamp hour battery, and it's estimating use time about 2 days. Charges take 3 hours. And of course, on standby, you can get quite a bit longer. I don't know, I would guess a week or so. It's got the face unlock. It's got all these other things on it. It says support for all these. It's SIM calling support. It is not Bluetooth calling support. You cannot tether this to your phone and expect to make and receive phone calls. That didn't happen in Android 7, and it looks like it's not happening in Android 10 either. So we're a little light on that. And by the way, what version of Android 10 is in here? Well, when you log into Google, and if you've got it set up to notify you on your account at all your other devices, you're going to see that it will claim a new Xiaomi Redmi 8 device has been activated on your account. And that's true of all these Android 10 watches. That's the core that's being implemented apparently in the smartwatches until they get it all straightened out. And again, a big shout out to our good buddy Pablo11 at fullandroidwatch.org, without whose help we would not be looking at this watch at all. Not now, maybe not even next year. So definitely head over if you can and help support him. Participate in the forums, ask some good technical questions, and put in your recommendations both there and here in the show notes of what you'd like to see as feature enhancements on this watch. And jump over, if you don't mind, to Banggood. Use the link we've got in the show notes and you'll be able to pick this up. I will have a coupon discount for you for sure when they're authorizing those, but they're not yet because they're in this special world premiere window where they have tiered pricing based on numbers of units sold. I would imagine it's at the $199 price for the first 800. But you can try to get one of them at $99.99, about half price. They give 2 out a day, so check out how you would participate in that. And that's it. This is the biggest watch in the world. I mean, this is really something. This is the Kospet Prime 2, and it's got so many new features and so much great stuff going for it. Definitely worth checking out. And yeah, we'll finish up with the information on booting the device up, and as far as the real technical details of the camera, I'm going to save that for an upcoming video. Have you subscribed? Have you checked the bell? You'll be the first to know, the first to see. All right, we'll catch you again soon. Thank you guys for watching.